I walked down the hall of the girls' dormitories, my school bag in hand. The doll lies inside, carefully placed on top of a small box. I've been carrying the box in there for a while now, still not sure what to do with it. This whole situation, come to think of it, is bizarre. While I've known of Hanako's upcoming birthday party for a while now, I had no idea of exactly what the celebrations would be until I found a single note left in the abandoned team room earlier today. I hold it up and read it again, double-checking the instructions. The plain black handwriting is fairly legible despite Lily's blindness, clearly thanks to considerable effort and care. Hisao will be holding a party at my place. Please come at 6 o'clock to room 225 in the girls' dormitory. Sorry for notifying you this way, but I have class representative duties. Lily Sato. Not reassured, I continue walking down the hallway until I reach Lily's dormitory room. I hesitate for a second, but eventually give 3 sharp taps on the door. A brief and muffled exchange of words can be heard from the other side. Listening closer, I can just pick out Hanako and Lily's voices. As they finish, Lily calls out, "Might that be Hisao?" "Yep, I got the note you left for me." "You can come in, the door is unlocked." Glad that I managed to get to the right room, I press down on the handle and let myself in. As the door swings open, my greeting to them is stolen from my mouth. Lily sits at a low table in the center of the room in her pajamas, while on the other side sits Hanako in a nightgown. Being dressed in only my normal school clothes, I feel quite out of place. I steal a quick glance at the lovely sight of the two, my eyes tearing themselves from Lily's long, thin and pale legs only with a measure of reluctance. Hi, I think I brought everything that was needed." She smiles and nods. I wonder if she's even aware of the pleasant sight she makes. A thin, dark blue silk of her pajamas. No, I can't freaking do that. Suits her, accentuating both her eyes and her curves. The look of her last night, that tentative and almost shy demeanor, seems all but replaced by her coy nature. It's nice to see her confidence returns, though I can't help casting my mind back to how she looked back then. I look to Hanako, who nervously sits opposite her in her gown. It isn't a surprise that she'd wear something so conservative, though it definitely looks cute. Pat on the head. Hi, Hanako. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
She's unusually skittish, despite the fact that she's warmed up to me considerably over the weeks we've come to know each other. This is a pretty unusual situation, I guess. Yeah, and the whole, being reminded of that incident in her past and all. Of course, that was ages ago now, isn't it? That was Hanako's route.
Feel free to take a seat, Hisao. I'll just pour you two some tea.
Sure thing. Lily takes the steaming red teapot from the side of the table and gently pours its contents into our teacups as I take a seat beside them, setting my bag against the nearby wall. With my senses returned and hormones somewhat calmer, I realize that this is the first time I've ever been in Lily's room. The first thing I notice is the ambient smell. It's slightly different from that in mine. Probably faint perfume or nail polish. It could be anything of the girls, really. Another is the plain nature of the room. Visually, beige walls, a smart kit, underworn cabinets, the lack of posters or wall hangings. It's distinctively alien. Something I should have anticipated given her blindness. The only thing that really seems out of the ordinary is several piles of books sitting on the floor, each reaching from roughly knee height to waist height. Some of them have printed titles, others are entirely blank except for dots of braille. The fact that the ones with printed titles are uniformly in English is interesting, though not completely unexpected. She did mention her parents impressing the language upon her in Akira, after all. "Your room looks nice, Lily." I hear a call of thanks from beside my shoulder. Looking back to Hanako, her gaze is fixed on her lap and her hands are nervously clutching her gown. It's now that I notice why. With those clothes on, the extent of her scarring is far more visible, reaching down her neck and out to cover her right shoulder. Considering this is a party for her, she doesn't really look like she's enjoying the experience now that I'm here. So, how old are you turning? 18? Her look of surprise, not at all helped by her total lack of skill at hiding her feelings, shows that she was trying to mentally tune me out. This is really quite awkward.
Yes.
On the plus side, there's only 2 more years till you can drink, so who is older, you or Lily? What is the age for drinking in Japan then? Wait, you said it, so that'd be 20 then. Is it 21 in the US? I think it is. And in the UK, I'm not sure. Is it 18 over here? I don't know, I don't drink, so I've never really bothered to check.
Lily, she had her birthday in February. What about yours?
Earlier this year, so it's already passed. Unstated is that it passed while I was stuck in the hospital. That was a bit a low point of the experience. Conversation with her dries up as quickly as expected. It isn't long before Lily is finished preparing a drink, setting down the 3 teacups in front of us. I pick mine up, immediately noticing, a much stronger aroma and taste than the tea we've been having. It tastes different than the tea we have in school.
It's a different variety, rather than the kind we've been having there. You've never tasted orange liqueur before?
Not that I remember. I usually drink coffee after all, like when we were in town. This is nice too. I don't drink coffee or tea, really. Like, I do on very rare occasions, but nothing fancy or anything. As we settle down and sip, Hanako seems to become more relaxed, or at least a bit less tense about my presence. We all finish our cups at about the same time, with Hanako failing rather badly at hiding her anticipation for the cake that's sitting to the side, begging to be eaten. Come to think of it, I'm feeling very eager myself. First things first, though. Lily?
Yes, now is good.
Each of us knowing exactly what the hell it means, I lean sideways and dig around in my bag for the doll I bought Hanako as Lily gets up and retrieves her gift. Hiding our gifts in our hands, we present them both on the table at the same time. Happy birthday! Happy birthday! Happy birthday! Happy birthday! And all that jazz. At least they aren't doing a happy birthday song, because that shit deliberately, that song was deliberately made to embarrass whoever's birthday it is, clearly. Hanako silently sits looking at them for seconds on end, out of sheer surprise. My little wooden doll, replete with Victorian-era dress and little hat, lies next to a light brown and fluffy stuffed bear from Lily. She clutches at her gown as she moves to speak, not taking her eyes off the modest presence.
Thank you, Lilly and Hisao.
Her voice begins to crack as Lily reaches forward, wrapping her in a soft embrace. Isn't that just precious? The sight of Hanako holding Lily so tightly is heartwarming, so much so that I couldn't wipe the smile off my face even if I wanted to. As Lily gently rests her face on Hanako's head, she speaks so quietly and softly that I can barely hear her.
Happy birthday, Hanako.
Happy birthday. Hanako gives a small nod, holding on to Lily for a time before breaking off and wiping an eye. I guess that for Hanako, simply having anyone to be there and love her would be special. The fact that Lily and I can now share that role for her is something I think I will always be grateful for. Hanako gently takes the doll and teddy bear, holding them both to her chest as she warmly smiles. For a long time, all 3 of us simply sit in happy silence. The quiet is not broken until Lily's soft voice beckons.
Shall we have at the cake, then?
Her proposal is met with 2 looks of unhidden anticipation. No argument from me.
Okay.
Phew, that was good. I contentedly sit back, both Lily and Hanako looking just as satisfied with the food as I. It took some effort, but we managed to finish off the cake in one go. What about that music box? Or is the reason why he got that instead of, like in Hanako's route, he'd get the doll and the chessboard. But I imagine he's probably going to give the music box to Lily at some point, I'm assuming, since it is her route and all. I can literally sit back with no little bar like that. We managed to finish off the cake in one go.
I don't think I could fit any more in. I think next time I'll buy a smaller cake.
Hanako and I give a chuckle, but I can't help noticing that, come this time next year, we'll have graduated from Yamaku. That fact is somewhat depressing, since I finally feel as if my life is starting to get back onto some kind of order. Idly looking around Lily's neat and orderly room, her books catch my eye once again. This may be a little ambitious, but my curiosity gets the better of me. Besides, I don't think she'll mind in any case. Hey, Lily, do you mind if I take a look at one of your books?
You're quite welcome to, Hisao. That said, if you can overcome 2 language barriers, I will be quite impressed.
2, Braille and... Alright, English. She gives a nod. I knew you were studying English. I'm still amazed that you're this proficient at it.
One could say it's a perfect way to avoid people borrowing my collection.
She says it in jest, but I am a little disappointed. Having all these books around me with no way of reading them feels like one big tease. Hanako giggles as quietly as I reach over the closest pile, plucking the topmost book with only a cursory glance. Deaf on an aisle and large letters on the cover is the only printed text to be seen.
You know, with, like, the Japanese, do they, like... How does learning English go for them? Do they, like... It's like, for example, when I was in school, as I said a billion times, got taught at home, but when I was in school, I remember there were some foreign classes as well. They had, like, French, Welsh, and I think that was about it, I can recall. And, what is it a similar kind of thing with Japan where they have English as one of these like classes that they have as well? It's like, oh, you go like actually just like think of like you just got the subjects like English, but in Japan they'd have a different name for what English would be, wouldn't it? What would that be called then for that class? I mean, they're bound to have a class on English as well, but like for learning the language, what would they call that class then? Never thought of that before. But yeah, they must have, you know, some class that teaches English. But clearly, just like Hisao was one of the type that's like, I can't be bothered to study. To be fair, learning another language is a pain in the ass, but like, when does it get introduced into school in Japan? Is it like when they like get to high school or some shit or what? Because with language, the older you get, the harder a language suddenly becomes to learn. When you're a kid, learning a language can be a piece of piss. Because, I don't know, your mind's still growing at that point, you're still learning things. Once you get old, you're just like, can't be arsed. Anyway, Hanako quickly giggles, I read that. Oh, it's in Braille. I sit down for a while with the book open on my lap as Lilly and Hanako talk. Oh. If I could find my freaking Pokemon Emerald manual thing where it has a Braille chart, I would try to see if I could figure out myself, but I don't think I'd have much luck. I sit down for a while with the book open on my lap as Lilly and Hanako talk. Try as I might to feel out the dots of Braille printed on each page, they seem to blend into one another and become indistinct. I thought this would be a lot easier than it actually is. With some practice though, I could see someone with a better sense of touch than mine managing to read at a pretty fast speed. Noticing a silence that had probably begun earlier, I look up from the dotted pages to see Lily smiling as Hanako sips another cup of tea. Is something wrong? Quite the opposite. Your curiosity is quite endearing.
I'm inordinately pleased by the praise, though I can feel my cheeks heating up a little. Thanks, but I don't know how else I could act.
To be honest, I wasn't altogether sure of how you saw us, since you were a new transfer student from another school. If you'd pitied us, I would have been quite offended.
There's a certain edge to Lily's voice, one that I'd quite possibly place as pride. Glancing over to Hanako, she seems even more subdued than usual, looking towards Lily rather than me. I wouldn't worry about that, considering the position I found myself in. I'm perhaps the last person that should be dispensing pity on others. My parents' first interaction with me after my heart attack, I wouldn't want anyone to see that kind of face. You just blurted that out! I catch myself from going any further, but not soon enough. Both the girls seem to be put off, Lily especially. See, he feels more comfortable around these two than freaking Lily. Not Lily, I mean Shizune.
with Shizune, I still don't think he freaking told Shizune about his heart condition. But he just blurts it out randomly to these two. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have gone that far. An awkward silence reigns for a few beats, thankfully ended as Lily's head perks up in a gesture I've come to easily recognize. Hear something? The door. Oh, come on, is he really that deaf? Everyone looks towards it, trusting in Lily's senses. True enough, the door handle shudders and turns, a flash of yellow and black slipping through. Akira Sato's in the house! Happy birthday, Hanako! Thank you. Akira takes a seat at the table as she plops her tall bag beside her. She has her trademark boisterous air about her, making no small deal of her entrance. Hanako clutches her gown to steady herself, but doesn't appear too shaken after she settles down. I guess she must have met Akira before. Not a huge surprise given how close Akira and Lilly are. Akira doesn't seem to be the least bit put off by Hanako's scarring, despite its prominence, but she also doesn't pull any punches in how she acts despite Hanako's shy nature. I thought you said you'd have to work, Akira. Did you manage to get off for a while? Kinda. I feel bad about ditching the guys doing overtime, so I gotta get back soon. But I felt bad about not coming to your cute little Hanako's birthday too, so for now I'm here. She grins widely at Hanako, who flowers into a full blush as she pins her eyes downwards towards her lap. Her mouth seems to widen and retract over and over as if she was trying to suppress a smile out of embarrassment. It's a little strange how her reaction seems to be more immediate and forceful than when she's embarrassed by the way she looks. All she managed to give in return is a tiny nod, failed to hide her appreciation to any great extent. Not that many people give her positive attention. I suppose it makes me respect how well Akira can handle her, making her so happy compared to what little I could do. Now then, before I go, she reaches into the bag beside her and handily displays its contents. Out come two large glass bottles, both with long French names on the labels. You know, even if I knew freaking French, I mean, that's more like a signature kind of thing, isn't it? You know, why did signatures just make no sense to me? Like, you just scribble and just like, yeah, here's my signature. It's just like, you wouldn't be able to freaking tell who's sick, like, what the freaking says. It's a scribble. You could just like scribble, form a penis, and then scribble out of that, and you'd be like, yeah, that's my signature. Just like, well, whatever. At least you're being creative with it. No, actually, I doubt it. That probably could potentially be decipherable, I guess. But I don't speak French. There's courses for that. But, you know, it's still in the Japanese one currently. And after that, I don't know if I'll start right away onto another one. It's like, oh, let's learn languages. Why the hell not? It's like, oh, we've got like, hey, let's do German, let's do French, Italian, Welsh. Freaking screw it, let's do Russian as well. Throw it all in there. But I know, I'd probably ask if there's any courses for like science or some shit next, because I'm kind of interested in that. But anyways, I'm rambling. Hanako's expression is an odd mix of surprise and curiosity. I expect mine's no different. Really not seeing the proceedings is oblivious to what's going on. Akira, this isn't... What is it? A wine, one red, one white. Akira, that's... Relax, it's not like Shizune is here to scold you. Lilly has a point, that's not exactly allowed on campus. Or anywhere, really. We're still short of the legal drinking age, remember? Rich Wordstone practically drooling as they examine the bottle. That's the thing with, like, the drinking age and all that. It's just like, who freaking obeys the drinking age? No one! Freaking, like, kids drinking all the goddamn time. Like, freaking 11, 10, freaking, it's younger and younger. I myself, I've tasted alcohol, but I've never actually, you know, properly drank alcohol. It's like, I've told of this tale before, when I reached into the fridge one day, took out a can, thinking it was a can of 7-Up, drinking it, and it was like, I think it's, the brand's called Carling, and it was like, What the fuck? Oh, shit, wrong one. So yeah, didn't like the taste. I don't know, I don't really like... When it comes to drinking, it seems like the goal most people have when it comes to drinking is just to get drunk. And I don't really see the appeal of getting drunk, so I avoid alcohol. Anyways, she got me there. I'm generally interested in trying some, even just a little. While Hanako may not be handling one herself, her look does tell me that she's far from opposed to the notion as well. Lilly rubs her forehead, giving up the fight that she knows Akira would win due to simply not caring enough about those funny rules and regulations. Just don't breathe a word of this to anyone in the school. Please, I beg of you. I'm not stupid, don't worry. That said, I gotta get back to work pretty soon. So soon, but you only just arrived. Sorry, Lilly. Good to see you two again, though. And you, Hisao. See you later, then. Goodbye, Akira. She levers herself up with a grunt and waltzes out of the room, leaving us alone with the 2 items on the table. Interesting. Lilly gives a nervous giggle at her sister's antics as Hanako takes a wine bottle. So, what do you think, Lilly? She rests her elbow on the table and pinches the bridge of her nose, thinking things through. She really doesn't seem to be able to keep up with her sister. Well, it's already here. We may as well have some. No sooner does she say it than I take a quick glance around the room for glasses. A small groan above me reminds me that Lilly retired to rest on her bed for a few minutes ago. Her scene's playing out differently. Almost completely drained of energy, I managed to stand up and drag myself to the side of the bed, sitting down and leaning my back against it. This music is really fitting now. I'm just picturing like anyone who's ever drunk and they're like kind of like, oh, my head, well, and kind of like can barely stand up, kind of like feeling like they're gonna fall over or throw up, and this music's just playing in there. It's like, oh man, I think I drank too much. Seriously, that's another reason. I mean, aside from not knowing how I would be like when I'm drunk, because, you know, people act differently when they're drunk. Obviously, they usually act like complete idiots. Just like, and then like they throw up. And I've got a thing where like, well, I don't think anyone really likes to throw up, really, but I especially do not like it one bit. Hate it. So that's one other reason. And another reason is the freaking hangover that seems to accompany this kind of shit. So I'd rather not freaking, you know, do that. And this complete drain of energy, I managed to stand up and drag myself to the side of the bed, sitting down and leaning my back against it. Good God. The lady's groan sounds lifeless. Too much to drink? My head hurts. Yeah, too much to drink. I rest my head back and idly stare at the ceiling. What an unmitigated disaster. It's like, God damn it, Lilly, I thought you were Scottish. I thought you'd be used to this stuff. It's like, but she's lived in Japan probably most, if not all of her life, though. Like proper idiots, we all drink the night away with one glass after another. Hanako simply fell to the side asleep, and it's a miracle I don't feel as ill as Lilly. Hey, Hisao, I'm sorry about today. I didn't think this would happen. It's fine, Lilly. To tell the truth, I had a lot of fun today. Ick. Really? I think Hanako did too. No, she certainly did. There's a short silence before another groan responds from Lilly. You okay? As you said, I just drank too much. What's the time? Wait, what's the time? 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 I don't even need to look at my notes, but I'm gonna double check anyway. Looking through my notes, what a fail it is. Where is it? I'm pretty sure it's Nanji desu ka, right? I think, but I'm looking for the notes because I freaking can't remember. Oh, this is a weird one. Like, of all the phrases I learned, like, some of them really, this one really stands out. This one that is essentially, I am married and I have 2 children. When would I ever say that? But it's Watashi wa kekkon shite kodomo ga futari imasu. I probably butchered the pronunciation, but how weird is that? Where is that freaking one? I know I've got it in there somewhere. Where is it? Blah blah. Yeah, it is Nanji desu ka. You know the odd thing about that is the des, right? Desu ka. Like, I think it's like probably like only in anime and all that shit where they kind of like do that kind of, I don't know, where like desu. I've like throughout the course I've rarely heard the u in this. It's usually just desu ka. Which I think means, actually it probably depends on its context, but in that case, actually Nanji desu ka. Actually, what? That's the thing, I'm trying to work out, like, how the sentence structure is, because it's Nanji desu ka, right? Which is essentially asking what time it is. And I've looked up about desu ka, and, like, it can be used for it is, and that makes sense, I guess. But I imagine it depends on the context, so how does that work? What time is it? Actually... maybe Nanji is what time, and desu ka is the, is it to that, I think, maybe. Nanji, what time, desu ka, is it, I think. That's the thing about our languages, learning, confuses the shit out of me. But anyways, getting off subject, the time, it's... I quickly look at my wristwatch, its numerals barely legible in the gloom. About midnight. Curfew's in effect then? Yeah, I guess as much. We'll all have to sleep here overnight. As soon as I say it, I hear the sheets moving as Lily starts to sit up. Hanako. Oh no, go back to sleep. Don't try to get up. Hisao, I have to. You're in worse shape than me, by any stretch. Get some rest. But what about... I'll grab some spare blankets and put them over her, don't worry. As I give her the yes, I'll retrieve them, I hear her lie back down with a soft thud. Thank you, Hisao. No problem, it's the least I can do. You look outright wasted. I'm not wasted, just a little bit tired. She starts pouting, a slight slur beginning to distort her words as the alcohol takes hold of her again. I grab a couple of blankets rolled up at the end of her bed. Quietly walking over to Hanako, I carefully lay the blankets over her peacefully sleeping figure, making sure not to wake her up. The thick smell of alcohol coming off her breath makes me doubt she'd wake up no matter what I did though. I stand and take one last measure of the room. 2 girls, both very drunk, and 1 guy sleeping overnight with them in the female student's dorm. What a scandal that'd be if it broke out.
As I move to sit back down on the side of the bed, I steal one last glance at Lilly. Her sprawling disheveled figure lies resting peacefully, slightly turned to the side. I crouch down to get a better look. Isn't she adorable? Her white skin blends in with the white pillow of the bed, a look of slumber-born peacefulness on her face. Then she vomits. Blah! Usually she seems so confident and forward, always there and caring for Hanako. Now, though, she seems painfully delicate. I think back to Hanako's presence. I thought it'd be a nice occasion for her, but I'd hardly expect it to be so moving. One birthday after another, year after year. Just she and Lilly, all alone. I guess it wasn't just a present she liked. Resigning myself to an uncomfortable sleep, I sit down at the side of the bed once again and rest my tired arms beside me. Hey, Hisao. Lily's voice is so quiet I can barely hear it. She must be on the verge of sleep. Yeah? Thank you.
Thank you? For what?
For being here.
That's okay.
So I hear a deep breath. It's obvious Lily's gone to sleep.
Bloody hell. Freaking quick sleepers, how the hell do they do it?
I have to close my eyes. It doesn't take long for slumber to take me as well.
Well, it depends how tired you are, really, isn't it? Although, sometimes even when I'm really tired, it's a pain in the ass to get to sleep.
Hisao, are you? The soft, barely audible voice lingering in my ears slowly wakes me as I wish I could be woken like this more often. With a mumble, I clear up my... Whoa! Taken by surprise at the face hovering curiously a mere millimeters from mine, I make our heads collide with a harsh thud. The impact of our foreheads causes both of us to fall backwards and yelp in pain. Lily sounding more like a squeak toy than a person. Ow, 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 or eat, as you always hear them saying. I slowly rub my forehead with one hand, supporting myself with the other. Lily lies a few feet ahead, doing just the same, her face obviously pained.
Sorry. Your face was kind of close and I acted on reflex. You okay?
My head. It seems she's not actually okay, come to think of it. I doubt that the impact alone is what causing her head so much pain.
Hangover? You drank a fair bit last night.
It's just me, or did part of my voice just go into a Scottish accent briefly? She silently nods in confirmation as I lever myself up. Legs! I offer a hand to her and help her back onto her feet. Glancing behind her, I find that Hanako is still fast asleep. It's not fair. I only drank as much as you did.
That's very different from what I remember. And anyway, girls have a lower tolerance than men.
That doesn't help.
Fine, I'll get you a glass of water. Just be careful not to trip over Hanako. But I thought Scottish people were like... Well, wait, no, it was Irish, really, but... Yeah. Are Scottish people, like, when it comes to drinking, like you call it a lightweight if you, like, get drunk and just pass out too quickly after just drinking a bit. And then you just, like, always, like, be like the Irishman, just like, fucking lightweights. I've already had, like, freaking 9 pints, and I ain't even drunk yet. Or maybe it's like, no, this is a kind of, like, stereotype Irish kind of joke or some shit. It's like, I'm not drunk because I've always been drunk. Therefore, I've never been sober. Therefore, I'm not drunk because I've always been drunk. It's like, that doesn't even make any sense. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Fine, I'll get you a glass of water. Just be careful not to trip over Hanako. I rub the sleep out of my eyes, or at least some of it, as I walk to the counter. Tending to someone with a hangover isn't the way I like to spend a morning. It only takes a few seconds for the glass filled. The clear water reflected the silver of light that makes it through the thin curtains. Looks like Lily's taking a seat on the side of the bed. I walk over to her while taking care to step over the peacefully sleeping Hanako and place the glass into her outstretched hands. Thank you. No problem. I take a seat next to her, the soft bed having a surprising amount of give. She drinks slowly and methodically. A long silence passes with only Hanako's soft breathing to be heard. With some measure of guilt, I look at Lily's face and attempt to read her expression. Her brow is furrowed and she looks to be lost in thought. For a moment I hesitate, but eventually place a hand on her shoulder in an attempt to reassure her. I didn't expect her to flinch rather noticeably at that, though. Sorry, I didn't mean to... Lily quickly shakes her head in a manner somewhat more violent than usual for her.
She takes a long breath to steady herself before letting her head sink. I must look terrible right now. I moved to protest, but quickly realized that it would be futile to do so. That said, I want her to open up more. If you want to talk about anything, I'm here. Lily gives a self-deprecating snort, as if to mock her own emotions. Don't think we've seen that expression before. There's just a lot happening right now. I'm sorry for being so strange recently, especially back when we were in town. Even now I'm a bit confused about everything.
Believe me, I know how that feels.
She smiles wistfully, resting the cheek on the back of her fingers. We're a couple of broken young fools, aren't we?
Come on, don't say that. Come graduation, we'll be back out into the real world.
Real world? Sometimes I surprise myself with the way I think about things. I guess the strange divorced feeling of Hanako and the surrounding town compared to the outside world still hasn't become natural. Maybe it never will. It's strange in hindsight. Being isolated from society like this doesn't feel as bad as it probably should. A wry grin on her face, Lily seems to share the same sense of amusement at the idea. Eventually, though, her smile drops. I'll be going back to Scotland for a week or two soon.
Is that why we had to reschedule Hanako's birthday party?
She gives an affirmative nod.
You'll be able to see your family again, at least. You're not looking forward to it?
I haven't met my family in 6 years. I don't even know how to act around them anymore.
Wait, what? My mouth hangs open as I try to process what she said. If she's 18, that means she'd have been only 12 when they left. I may have seen very little of my parents, what with them both working long hours, but that's... I feel utterly useless as I struggle to find some way to respond. But why?
Why did they leave, or why are they inviting Akira and I back?
Both, I suppose.
My father's business has its headquarters in Scotland, and an executive position became available for him there. In the end, he had to move permanently. My mother followed him, but Akira and I stayed in Japan for the sake of both Akira's job with the Japanese branch of my father's company and my education. As for the latter, one of my aunts is gravely sick.
Sorry.
Don't be, it feels strange, really. We're being summoned there for her, yet we've barely met before. I can't even remember the sound of her voice.
Equally strange is the total lack of empathy she feels towards her family for doing such a thing. I can't help feeling slightly humbled. That said, her wistful exterior is just hiding her emotions. Seeing her like this is depressing. Knowing what to do, I lift myself off the bed. Liv notices the bed's movement and her head perking up and her hand reaching sideways to feel where I was.
Hisao?
I walk over to my bag, still leaning against the wall, unbuckling the front flap and retrieving the opaque box from within. Take the small plain box in my hands. Yeah, so did he buy that for her in the first place then? Because clearly, if he bought it for Hanako, then he would have given it to her by now. Hold your hands out, Lily. She looks surprised for a moment, but eventually... a word that I cannot pronounce. I'm going to check. Acquiesces? I don't think I've ever heard that word before. You know, when I was like saying that you probably sort of walk through it. You know, I want to show something. We're right here. When I open a new tab here, look at that. Just look at it. Does that look familiar? It's like I think that's the final part of my Dark Upper 2 LP. It still shows it like that. I don't know why. But yeah, there's the walkthrough I've been using right there. I don't really use Google Chrome for much else, really. But anyways, back to novel. She looked surprised for a moment, but eventually, whatever it was. I'm amused by her look of curiosity when I place the music box into her open palms, her typically delicate way of handling it, making it seem as if it were fragile enough to break if breathed on. She wordlessly brings it in front of her face, her slender fingers feeling out its contours and patterning. Eventually her fingers find the recessed line between the lid and body of the box, and her thumb effortlessly pops open the lid. I take a seat on the bed next to her, watching her face silently and intently. She sits completely motionless as she listens to the diminutive tiny melody, her mouth just slightly open. Well, that was brief. It takes a long while my ass
before she closes the lid with a small snap, bringing the curtain down on the miniature performance playing in her hands. The smile on her face, gentle and wistful, shows that I made the right decision. Think of it as a going-away present for your trip to Scotland. I will. Even though that wasn't the original reason he bought it. I don't even know what the original reason was, honestly. Restless shuffling can be heard from the floor in front of us, the sound having woken Hanako. She climbs out of the blankets I put over her, looking befuddled and wiping the sleep from her eyes. I can imagine this. It's like, okay, let's walk. Okay, let's plug. I'm not actually going to do that, but just like imagine it. Okay, got my guitar, plug it into the amp, just like that kind of, slight staticky kind of sound, and then suddenly. Now just picture that with a lot of distortion and incredibly loud. It's like, my ears, what the fuck, I was sleeping. She climbs out of bed, looking at me, letting button sleep from her eyes. I see you finally up. What? Hanako looks around the room with her eyes only half open, her mind far from being as awake as her body. Her dazed state makes me and Lilly chuckle. As Lilly gets off the bed and tends to Hanako, I take one last look around the room. You know what? I haven't even made a trailer for it yet. No, actually. How over time? Holy shit, this is nearly 2-hour recording. This has got to be one of the longest recordings I've done in quite some time. Like, not just with, this LP, but, in general. But, it's going to be a long part split into various parts, because it's a long recording and all. And maybe then I'll probably have made the trailer by then for the October LP, so I don't know. If not, it doesn't really matter, really, because I've already spoiled Hell Night early on, didn't I, in this LP, a couple of parts back. But another LP that I'm going to do for October is Parasite Eve 2. I've only recorded a few parts for it so far, but Lilly's legs, essentially, remind me of Aya, because, well, in that game, legs. Just legs. You'll see what I mean if you've actually played the game. Just legs. Them legs. As Lilly gets off the bed and tends to Hanako, I take one last look around the room. I guess I'd better get going then. There'll be questions if I'm even seen leaving the girls' dormitories in the morning. Goodbye, Hisao. Oh, goodbye. I stand and walk to the door, picking up my somewhat lighter bag along the way. After I leave the room and enter the hallway, though, I hear Lilly's footsteps behind me. What's wrong? Without a word, she strides up to me. I freeze. I feel her hand slide onto my cheek, seemingly every nerve taken in the feeling of her fingers and palm upon it. Immediately after, her face slowly moves next to mine, a light momentary touch of her lips brushing against my other cheek. Romantic music plays. For a moment, everything seems to stand still. I absent-mindedly bring my fingers to my cheek as arpeggios play. I think there's an arpeggio going on there, as if to try and recapture that fleeting feeling. Lilly. That's my thank you, Hisao. Thank you? For your present. Have a nice day in school. And with that, she disappears behind her door and gently closes it. Not even a CG! The muffled voices of she and Hanako audible through it, much as they were yesterday night as the music is pretty loud. I think I'd be hard-pressed not to have a nice day after that. I walk away with a certain spring to my step. I think there wasn't people around that plans start me emerging from the girls' dormitory building, but I find it difficult to care. I don't give a fuck. Do-do-do-do-do. He-chan! Go away. He-chan! Leave me alone. Come on, He-chan! Let me sleep. After 2 nights of not being able to sleep at all, the last thing I want is to be working when I finally manage to. Maybe the last period of class or a textbook is my pillar, but I'll take whatever sleep I can get by this point.
See, Hichan, even Shichan wants you to get up.
I don't care what Shizune wants, leave me alone.
Geez, Hichan, I'll just have to wake.
Wait, Bisha's going to...
You.
This is bad! You don't have to! I can feel my face flaring into a scarlet red blush. The students still in class are sitting bolt upright and staring at the shouting fool who was sleeping just moments before. Damn it. I let my head smack back down on the table with a noticeable thud. Wait, what was she gonna kiss him or something? Misha's trademark and controlled laughter reverberates through the classroom. It's been a while since I've done her voice. As I turn my mournful eyes to the bespectacled Shizune beside her, she carefully adjusts her glasses, desperately trying to maintain a look of fierce disapproval. Narrowing my eyes, I can see the badly hidden grin spreading across her face. Et tu, Shizune. Shizune looks away quickly as she crosses her arms tightly, barely on the edge of her control. Misha's laughter doubles in volume as she glances at Shizune. All I can do is drag my hand down my face in resignation. You too.
Who was the one who slept in class, Hichan?
Yeah, it was me.
Poor Shichan was having a fit trying to wake you up, weren't you?
I moved my eyes back to the standoffish Shizune, who with a single huff of contemplation returns to looking away with her arms crossed. Why was Shizune trying to wake me up? Because you're in class, maybe? But, oh man, this recording's gone on forever. So, I'll call the recording there. Let's see next time, viewers, for when we continue this route and find out what the hell this scene will lead into and all that. So yeah, see you next time, viewers. See you next time.